everybody, and welcome again to another episode of the Risk Matrix with James Junkin.
Roll Tide, James Junkin in the house.
James Junkin.
Summertime is near.
Summertime is near, but football is over. Sorry about that, James. And myself, Dr. Martin, and we're here today to talk about ramping up your safety training a little bit by researching some stuff online. Don't keep it stale, keep it fresh. But here we go. James is going to give us a little roll from our sponsor, and then we'll go right into talking about some of the things that I use and maybe James uses to put together his safety training and some of the talks that he gives, because he gives a lot of them.
Absolutely. This episode of the Risk Matrix powered by Veriforce is sponsored by Swift Learning. Swift Learning is committed to making a meaningful impact to keep workers safe physically and mentally. Swift provides a software as a solution platform that contains 70 plus occupational health and safety, along with environmental, mental health, and well-being courses. And those courses use Swift's patented pending Sahara technology, and it is found in over 100 languages and can be used on all devices. Now, Sahara stands for Safety and Health Awareness Risk Assessment. And that is a workplace risk assessment and mental health management and training technology that enables organizations to take proactive steps to realize measurable improvements in safety performance and corporate wellness. To learn more about Swift and its Sahara technology and the special offer for Veriforce Network members, visit swiftlearning.com/Sahara-Veriforce and transform your corporate culture.
Right on, James. Thank you for that. And before we proceed, I just want to say it's 2 days now. I think it's 2 days from when we're taping this to when you go and you are on the ballot for ASSP's senior vice president position. So if you're seeing this and the vote is still out, I think it's going to be out all the month of March. Go and vote for James. That's just me saying that. I think James is a great guy, but I also think he's one of the safety leaders that's going to lead your society into the future. So if you see his name on the ballot, James Junkin, senior vice president, he's the guy who you want to lead your society, ASSP.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. That is very humbling. I just encourage all ASSP members to vote. Be involved in your society. Historically, the people who vote in these elections versus the total membership is very, very low. And this is your society for you, built by safety professionals for safety professionals, with the goal of getting workers home safe from high hazard jobs. So look for that ballot that'll come in on March 1st from No Reply. I think it's No Reply at ASSP.org. I may be wrong about where it comes from. But anyway, check it out. Look for the email. Go to the website, ASSP.org/elections, and you can see the ballots, the ballot slate, learn a lot more about all the candidates, their biographical information, and their platform statement. So I don't have all that stuff right there in front of me. But look, the election's coming. We want you to participate. We want you to be involved in your society. Go check out who's running. Choose a candidate that suits you, but most of all, participate.
That's right. Participate. Thanks, James, for clearing that up. I'm biased. So let's talk today about just a little bit. So let's talk today a little bit about something that's near and dear to my heart. I think anybody that's been through safety training or any type of training or PowerPoint or conference presentation, let's talk about this topic of when things get stale or just using the same old to put your stuff out there. Not a fan, right? I really think that we need to put some effort into the things that we're presenting to other people. And so, James, what questions do you have for me? Because you know I'm a
Well,
kind of a nut
I
about
want to
this
start
stuff.
with a comment on something that you just said, and then we'll get into the questioning. Many times we're teaching the same stuff over and over and over and over again. And we've got employees that have been there. For example, some training is annually required. We understand that. One of the products Veriforce has is H2S Clear for Energy, annually required by the ANSI committee. And how do I make this be more by adding to the program so we're just not repeating the same stuff we did 12 months ago? I think that's a very good question, and I'm interested in some of the places you can go to get additional resources to enhance your training, because training is one of the bedrock foundation principles of the safety management system. And I'll say this as a master trainer, having trained over 40,000 people and probably qualified 5,000 plus Veriforce instructors over the years in my role as a master trainer. If you don't care as the instructor, they won't care as a
That's
student.
right, James. That's right, James. So let me start with this. There have been a number of times that I've been to safety trainings, both as a professional, as an observer, as somebody who has been documenting somebody else's competency in training. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen people pull stuff off the OSHA website, right? OSHA's got some canned presentations up there, and I've seen them over and over again. People will call them their own, change a few words, and it's the same stuff over and over, right? But OSHA does have some good stuff on their website, right? OSHA.gov. If you go to the topic section and the sector, right? Because obviously we don't all work in construction, we don't all work in oil and gas, we don't all work in manufacturing,
Right.
but they have things by sector that you can go up there and actually pull some of these documents down and take some of your training materials from, whether it's pictures. Machine guarding is one of my favorites on the OSHA website, because whether they're old or not, the machine guarding graphics on there are spot on, and they help you really kind of bring to life the pinch points and in running nip points and stuff like that. And so what I will say is, don't just go pull down some stale PowerPoint presentation from OSHA. Actually dive into some of the topics in the sector portions. Um, and hey, by the way, all of the standards are up there too. Okay.
Right.
So when we're talking to people about things that ring true in our workplace, we should be using the standards that are up there and pulling them down and actually bringing those standards to life. So the construction standards are up there, the mining, everything is up there, right? So go
And
to the
your
OSHA
policy
website.
should mirror that. So it's the standard in your company policy. And, I'll tell people all the time, man, if you got insomnia, go read subpart O, machine guarding. I don't
Yeah,
care who
yeah,
you are. If that doesn't put you to sleep, I don't know what will, right?
yeah.
But contained in that's a lot of valuable information from a compliance standpoint, but also for helping workers stay safe, working around machinery where you can have horrible injuries and amputations if you are not performing safe work practices. I don't know how to explain it without good pictures that show the hazards. So this
Yep.
is a way to enhance your course without having to go out there to the shop, remove machine guarding, endanger your workers in the process to have, hey, this is what to look for. So I think it's a good call out. OSHA's got some good stuff sometimes.
So here's one of the other things that I do, and this is just kind of an aside, right? This is not an advertisement for Google, but I do use Google, and I'll put in what I'm looking for. So let's say pinch points, right? Pinch point hazards. I might search for that. And then I hit the button up there, the radio button that says images, right?
Right.
Scroll down through the images. If you do any search for anything, maybe you're looking for wording, but look at the images too, because a lot of times safety professionals or websites or companies or even manufacturers will put up their really good images that you can use in your presentations. Now, when I say that, remember that when you use somebody else's images, you should give credit. Okay.
Right.
Should, must give credit. Okay. So make sure that you're giving credit where credit is due, right? And they will tell this if you're training in OSHA, to the OSHA Institute. You become an OSHA authorized instructor. They will tell you that you need to have permission to use the images and that you should be crediting the image, the person who has the image out there, right? Also,
and as a Veriforce trainer, been one many years, these are things that you can do to add to the program. So if I'm talking about respiratory protection, we have a standardized program built behind that. But I like to go to places like NIOSH to add to the program, right?
That was the second one on my list there, James. NIOSH, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. They also have a section. Well, they have all kinds of good research in there. If you want to be current, go to their research section, look at the stuff that they're putting out. But they also have a topical section where you can go in and you can look at all their topical information, and they put out some wonderful materials that you can be using, right? Government materials are great. Now, not just United States materials, okay? A lot of the ones that I use come from other countries. They've got some great material on there. They may not have the same standard, but it's going to be pretty close, but the images will be good. The graphics will be good. Sometimes they've got some additional information in there that we don't post on our US-centric websites. Places that I look, right? CCOSH, Canadian Center for Occupational Safety and Health, okay? In Canada, they also have provincial websites. One of the best ones to go to is WorkSafe BC. WorkSafe
I couldn't
BC.
agree more. I've used more stuff in the U.S. because I don't get to Canada very much, but WorkSafe BC has provided a lot of tools and services for me, not only for professional development, but for enhancements to class. Back when I first got started, I used to carry around this 1 terabyte hard drive, right? That had 500 gigabytes of training material. And when we did in-person training trainers, I used to stay up all night copying these things over to these external hard drives. Thank God we got the cloud, man. I'm old. This is for the cloud, right? Trying to get this material to instructors. And a large portion of it came from WorkSafe BC.
So WorkSafe BC, if you go to their health and safety area of their website, punch it up, WorkSafe BC, and you go to their health and safety area, you can also search by topics. They have PowerPoints, they have images, they have fact sheets, they have videos, okay? Some of the best videos on monitoring, especially in a confined space, case studies, real life kind of reenactment videos. WorkSafe BC is one of the best places that I've gone to enhance my safety training and my PowerPoints and my visuals when I'm presenting. Okay, so WorkSafe BC. Now, I said Canada, right? The provincial websites. There are also other provincial websites, but WorkSafe BC is one of the best. Australia, okay? Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain. They all have, some of the European agencies have some of the really great resources available on their websites. Don't rule them out just because they're from another country, right? They are doing some advanced things in these countries that can really bring home some of the things that you're training on in your everyday training, right? So if you're doing like H2S, like James says, and you're doing a canned program as a master trainer, or you're doing a canned program, even an online training, right? And you want to do something hybrid to have like a discussion session. These are places you can go to bring real life examples down. Now, James, there's one that you really like, and I know this, the Chemical Safety Board. Tell us about the Chemical Safety Board.
I love the Chemical Safety Board. The Chemical Safety Board, in their investigations, often provides very useful video reenactments with very realistic graphics that are used I've used in training courses such as confined space and fall protection and hot work incidents and just a myriad of other chemical incidents have happened over the years. They're not very long. They give you a break as an instructor because, I like to think I'm a pretty good instructor, but nobody wants to listen to James 8 hours straight, right? Let's break it up. Let's get some stuff that's current. In a lot of cases, I was involved, for example, in the Deepwater Horizon incident. And to me, it seems like just yesterday, but that's 14 years ago. We're
It's
almost an
unbelievable.
age out of that, so we need examples that are current. And the Chemical Safety Board provides you a lot of good information for your training course, and it's free, it's downloadable, you can incorporate it in there. And so what I like to do, they've got one involving an H2S incident using Veriforce's standardized H2S clear program that's ANSI Z390.1 compliant. I'll pop that video on there as a supplement to what we're teaching, right? That's probably one of the misconceptions some instructors have. We don't want people modifying our standardized program, but you can add to it. And that's where you get your company specific and brings out the power of the instructor. Plus, I'll say this, when you're dealing with training, and I think you'd agree with me on this, one of the number one attributes an instructor, a good instructor, has to develop very quickly: know your audience. Know your audience. I teach instructors different than I teach new hire employees that have no experience. I teach safety professionals different than I teach, maybe safety supervisors that are out there in the field. And what I mean by safety supervisor is responsible for the safety of the crew, a frontline leader. When I'm talking to executives, same message, but we might bend it a little bit in order to meet their needs. And I think adding additional resources like you're talking about, Dr. Martin, is how you keep a class interesting. I remember one time I was on a committee, and I won't say which one, but there are some of the top safety professionals by position. Don't mean they're any better than you or me or anyone listening to us, but by position, these are some of the top safety professionals from companies around the world. And we got invited to Chicago to come in and listen to this speaker. And this guy gets up and he's like, well, guys, in 4 feet, the fall protection requirements that for general industry, and it's 6 feet for construction. And this is a lanyard. And I was sitting too close to him. I couldn't get away from this dude. So, when you're losing the room, when everybody picks up their cell phone, right? And all of a sudden it's like there was a national emergency. People texting their wives, they're texting their husbands, they're calling back, texting the office, call me. They're getting all these phone calls. People at the end of the
gotta get up and leave. Yeah.
At the end of the presentation, there's more people in the hall than there was in the presentation. Why? Because this cat didn't know his audience.
Yeah.
So know your audience and use these tools you're talking about to enhance and meet the needs of that audience that you're addressing.
So one of the other things, and I'll just move on from this now, because I know the Chemical Safety Board has some great case studies, and they are very valid to a lot of real life situations that happen. Construction, manufacturing, that they're all up there and they're all available, right? So that's a really, really good resource. And I know James loves it, which is why I mention it. So again, we have a lot of state plan states. Okay. So OSHA.gov is not the be all end all of training materials, fact sheets, videos, information, up-to-date exposure data. That's not the only place. State plan states also have their own websites. A couple that I like, and James, you can add to these if you want. OSHA, California OSHA, New Jersey, Washington State. Okay, those are 3 of the best. I don't mean to disrespect any other states. Obviously, these are the 3 that I use in my training when I'm putting together PowerPoints or webinars or things of that nature. These are 3 that I use almost constantly in trying to bring my stuff up to date and bring in new case studies. And just to go back a little bit to OSHA.gov, if you're looking for case studies, they have a lot of case studies on things that have happened to other companies that you can use in your own presentation. So look up these state plan states. James, do you have any other ones that you want to add in there?
There are 22 state plans that are out there. Probably the one that's the most more restrictive, because the state plan, you have to at least meet the federal guidelines. a lot of state plans go out there, and that's what they do. They just adopt the federal regulations. I hate to use the word guidelines, because guidelines, that doesn't sound like you have to do it. Like there's wiggle room there. But outside of the 22, the ones that stick out to me very prominently, it begins at California. Cal OSHA is very progressive in its occupational safety and health regulations. For example, there is no federal heat stress regulation, but there is in California. Yeah, there is in California. There's also a workplace violence regulation in California that's coming soon. So if I'm a practitioner in California, but I was educated in federal OSHA, I need some resources to get me up to speed on what the differences are. And sometimes the differences can be significant, right? Mm-hmm. Significant. So
usually more stringent.
A lot more stringent.
More stringent, yeah.
Yeah. You're never going to be less stringent than the federal OSHA in a state plan. But in these state plans that are very progressive and forward-looking in their enforcement of occupational safety and health, hey, you're not going to find an off-the-shelf resource that's going to always meet the requirements of Cal OSHA. So I'd say Cal OSHA is a great place to go. Other places that are from state plans that you need to be cognizant of. You mentioned Washington State. Hey, New York has a state plan, right?
New York. And some of the big cities also have their own. So, you should be looking all over the place, not just on OSHA, OSHA.gov. You need to go to these other sites and check these things out, because they've got some really great training materials, fact sheets, downloadable stuff. Okay. So let's move on from there. A lot of us belong to safety professionals, at least, but companies can do this too, or people just getting into the field. A lot of us belong to societies. As I mentioned earlier, James is in ASSP, right? The American Society of Safety Professionals. They have materials. They also do standards, right? Standards and guidelines. Standards and guidelines are a great place to go. Unfortunately, a lot of times you have to purchase these things, but they're worth it. National Fire Protection Association, NFPA. NFPA, while you have to buy a lot of their standards, they do have a viewer on their website so that you can go to NFPA and you can view the National Fire Protection Association standards. Really good information. Really good information if you're training on fire prevention or fire protection, right? You might have to buy it if you need it for everyday use, but you can view it. You can't print it. You can't download it, but really good information. I belong to the American Industrial Hygiene Association. They have a lot of good information. They have a lot of good training courses. So, there are a lot of other organizations out there that you should be going to other than just OSHA to augment your training. The EPA website. As much as us safety professionals cringe when they try to push us into the environmental realm, EPA does have some good information that is great to mention in our training courses. Sometimes we need that information, especially when it comes to hazardous waste, hazardous materials. When we start talking about lead or asbestos, some of the health hazards, they have some great information. So, James, did you want to add anything to these things?
Like to add a couple things. I'd like to add a couple things. If you're a member of ASSP, you should be getting Professional Safety Journal, right? Of which I'm coming off this year, my term's up, but I am the chair of the editorial review board at Professional Safety Journal. Why would I recommend that as a source for enhancing your training classes? New ideas, current cutting edge research, different websites that they reference inside to enhance your courses. One of the things I also like to do as an instructor is I love to go listen to other instructors teach, whether it's a webinar or a class, even if it's a class that it's at the awareness level. And you're like, James, you want to go listen to an awareness level class? You got a master's degree and a doctoral student in occupational safety and health. You're doggone right I do, because it's not about me. I want to see how that instructor deals with lockout tagout. How do they talk about fall protection? How do they talk about ladder safety? How do they talk about fire safety? And I have picked up by listening to other instructors over the years techniques that you can add to your class. So if I like to say, if you like me as an instructor, really all I am is a sum of all the stuff that I've stolen from other people. And I just put it in my toolbox over the years.
Or not stolen from other people. You can learn just as much from the bad instructors as you can from the good instructors. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So James makes a really good point. Listen to other people, go and see other people, go to conferences and see other people teach and their styles, right? So, there are a lot of good things out there. Now, if you're not about research and you're not about cutting edge things, right? Not all of us have an academic library at our disposal. I happen to because I teach. James happens to because he's a doctoral student. But here's a couple places that you can go for seeing if some of the research is online, right? Google Scholar, okay? It's part of Google, but it actually lets you look up academic papers, and it lets you filter by more recent papers or older papers or foundational papers. And some of these are in PDF form. You can read the abstracts. And if you really want to read these things, sometimes you can buy them on the websites from which they come. But don't discount Google Scholar because you can go on there, you can do web searches, and you can find out what people are really actually doing right now, today, 2023, 2024, and actually going to publish in the future. So Google Scholar is a really good place to go. Google Scholar. Okay.
I echo that. Not just for those that are still in school, and it's a source for academic journals and papers and things of that nature. But hey, in your practice, I can't tell you how many times it's come up either in an incident investigation I've been doing for a company, or we had a certain situation come up and I didn't have any knowledge or experience with it, or my knowledge and experience for that topic is very weak. Google Scholar is a good place to go. I can see articles where people have dealt with the same situation, how they dealt with it, what the research says. So I can take that, modify it, and apply it to what our needs are in the field. I don't care how smart you are, how many degrees you have, how many certifications you have. There's nobody that knows everything there is to know about OSHA and the regulations, even though we got a big old book to go by, right? And
know what you don't know. Know what you don't know.
Know what you don't know. I'll tell you straight up, I am not an industrial hygienist. I probably missed every one of those industrial hygiene questions on the CSP. Right?
But you have friends who are industrial hygienists.
I can phone a friend that's an industrial hygienist, right? To figure out the industrial hygiene questions that we have. But it's also it's a good source. Adult learning techniques are changing all the time. The way I was taught and the way I came up, instructor students run the class. They spoke to us. We listened. We interacted a little bit. We may have had, a case study go through. We took a test and we left class. That is not how people want to learn. You have to understand that adults won't participate in the class, and they're viewing everything that the instructor says through their past experience. So they'll know in 15 minutes, because I've done it too, you've done it too. That's much crap.
Yeah.
That's much crap.
That's much crap. But here's the thing, right? Know what you don't know, James, but also use your peers, right? So those of us who've been practicing a while, and I say this to my students all the time, I may be instructing them in one moment, but I'm also their peer and their colleague in another moment. And so use the people that are around you to flesh out what you don't know, okay? And that's a very important lesson that you have to learn when you're putting together information for other people. So,
I mean, one more thing to this is to kind of close this out. One of the hardest things I think for safety professionals is instructional design. I'll give you this out of here into a presentation that is timely, that adds value, that increases knowledge, skills, ability. And that's one of the things I like about Veriforce training. It's standardized. It's got some of the best instructional designers in the world, backed by some of the top safety specialists. I know Dr. Mark helped install a lot of the teaching advisory boards have installed on all the classes they've got, and have a very aggressive 2024 schedule coming up for instructor-led courses, right? So they take that instructional design component out. I'm not a PowerPoint guru. A lot of safety specialists aren't. So having good material from a company like Veriforce allows me to then do what I do best, which is teach. And not being
Right on. You are a good teacher, James. You are. See, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. So I mean, I was just going to say right before you said that last thing is that those are the things that I really use. I encourage you. Reach out to me. Reach out to James. We have a lot of ideas. I don't know if they're good or not. Sometimes they're good. Certainly. Really
I want to add YouTube.
Now, be careful with YouTube. I'm just going to say, right? Some of the things you see on some of the YouTube videos, yes, no, right?
We're on YouTube. So come check out the Red Matrix. We talk about it. Send us a note. We'll put it on the show. We'll talk about it. Give our opinion. You can quote us in your training session. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
So go and like this episode, like this post. Smash that subscribe button. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. If you've got questions, put things in the chat. Send us things on LinkedIn. Connect us. Certainly happy to have a chat about things we talked about here, or to give some guidance on where to go. Look us up. So
if you are a struggling safety professional and you want to be a guest on our show, please hit us up. We're not hard to find. Both of us will leave in a place in the message. Add something down in the comment section. Hit us up with an email. Get in contact with us. We're not hard to find. With your desire to be on the show, what you like to talk about, and maybe you can be one of the next guests in 2024 on the Risk Matrix. Until then, y'all keep bringing those workers home safe. I have a job.